Hey everyone, so today I have an idea for my next dribble shot, and I thought, what if I can record this whole process of me making this shot and make a video and share it to you guys. I think it could be something interesting, and I will walk you through all of my workflow from ideation to design to motion, and share some of my tips to make a dribble shot. Um, it's not really a dribble shot, but popular dribble shot because everyone can make a dribble shot. But the goal here is to make it popular. So I will make this shot and I will post it maybe this week. And I hope it could be um, on the top three or top four, um, or maybe more than that. But that's my goal here, and I would like to share the process of making of this shot to you. So let's get started. So let's talk about ideation. So before I started to do any kind of dribble shot, I had to come up with an idea first. Something simple, something new, something interesting that you want to deliver via your dribble shot. And I usually use these criteria to evaluate if this shot's gonna be like worth exploring or it's gonna be a hit on the popular page. So these points don't necessarily work every time for every cases because it's always different. Depends on what kind of design you're doing, what kind of style you're doing, or how many followers you have. But this is more like my personal experience. First, you need a clear idea or a story because you only have like 2 3 seconds to impress them. So the idea must be clear. So when you look at it, you know what story you're trying to tell, what um, what is the thing that you want to express. Otherwise, things just got confusing, and people just go away before you get to the point. And the second point is there has to be wow moments on the shot. So if you look at one of these example like here, is the story is that I want to customize the ring, and in order to impress people, the viewers, the ring has to be like in 3D, and there's gonna be moment like zoom in and zoom out. So these are the wow moments, because if I do this in like just a flat PNG ring, thing is just happening, and okay, yeah, you've seen it before, like you've seen all this before, and nothing too crazy going on here. So when I say crazy, it has to be like a positive crazy. It's not like crazy crazy. But in this case, like I have these ring, zoom in, zoom out. That creates some emotion going on in this shot. So that kind of attract people and kind of trigger their curiosity and keep them seeing more. And when they hit to the end of this shot, they say, "Oh yeah, I got it. This is a story here," and they're gonna hit like. And the next point is the sky is limit. So this means there's no boundary. When you start doing dribble shot, this is a place where you can experience everything. Like there's no limitation here. So some people just talk to me that, hey, this is how people are gonna code this, or is this realistic, or is nobody gonna kind of code this one, or is this not impossible. I usually don't really worry so much about being like realistic here. I mean, like it, it's a good point for being realistic, but this is not like a real project. This is Dribbble where you inspire people, you inspire designer by using visual design, interaction design, anything you want to do. You can do it here on Dribbble, right? So that's this three. These are the three criteria that usually consider whenever I do any dribble shot. So enough for this. Let's talk about what is the next idea that I want to do here. So for the next shot, I just had some thought about the interaction. What should I do? And I just came up with an idea. So let me show you the idea that I have. So I have a very horrible sketch here, but just want to show you the ideas. What's going on in my brain. So I was thinking, what if there's a landing page and starting like this, and there's a vehicle. So I just picked this vehicle randomly, but I'm going to tell you why do I pick this later. But what if we start a landing page, a web page, with a car in the middle as maybe this view or the front view. And then when you start scrolling, and normally when you start scrolling, the content will just going from the bottom to the top, yeah, it's like in a flat way. But here, whatever in the 3D environment, and when you start scrolling, the cars start moving, and all of these, the road and all these other elements are just scrolling the opposite direction. And then when you start scrolling, the cars start running, and then we're gonna have a lot of like content coming from this direction, like this direction, like this. So the opposite direction of what you where you're scrolling. And then with scrolling, and one key message, one piece of content will come in here and stop here. So maybe we don't miss this, just to show you the mention here. Okay, so one piece of content is just coming here, so the car just keep moving, but the content will follow the car like this until you start scrolling again. And then this box of content will just goes away to this direction, and another box of content just came in from exactly the opposite direction. So what we're gonna have is like some kind of a very cool scrolling experience, but in the 3D environment. And we can see all the cool thing here going on here, and you see these content being integrated in the 3D environment, so you can feel there's going to be a very cool experience. And maybe we can even do something like we have this mouse button, and this mouse cursor going on here. So what if whatever we drag this mouse cursor to, like for example, if you drag this mouse to the left, maybe the perspective, like the camera angle, could change a little bit, so the car can just, you can really controlling the camera angle by using your mouse, and then you can just scrolling and playing around with the camera angle. So I think it could be something really cool. So if you look back at this, so use this idea and use these criteria to see that if this can satisfy this point, to see if it's worth exploring. So let's talk about clear idea. I think it's a clear idea here. So the idea is that we're using this scrolling direction to tell the story. Each of these content is going to be like something about this car, right? And I think that's an interesting story. Something I think I've never seen anything like this before. So it's worth exploring. And the wild moment, I think the wild moment is already here when you start scrolling and people see that, oh, this is very cool 3D environment. There's things just floating in the 3Ds, and you can control the camera angle with your mouse, and maybe you can click to each of these contents. It's gonna be the CTA here, and you click here, and maybe the car is just like rotating, and then we take you to another view where you can have the detail of this point. So that could be interesting. And the next, sky's limit. Obviously, these are something that not a lot of people have done it before. So I think it could be creative. It have a lot of room for you to be creative, and it's worth exploring. Totally. So I think we got the idea here. I think pretty solid. And now let's start doing it, right? So before I do this, let's think about first is what kind of car do I want to use for this shot. And I currently have here in a Cybertruck from Tesla. So I think this makes sense because I have found this Cybertruck 3D model here. I think it's pretty solid. The detail is good enough for this dribble shot, and most importantly, it's free. Yeah, I think it's free. So I think I'm gonna go with Tesla Cybertruck. And other thing is that when I use this truck, it's kind of trendy recently, so it's kind of relevant. I believe it's gonna get more attention from people rather than other regular car. And also I like this kind of shape, so it's different. So maybe you can explore a few um, different visual style for my next shot. So I'm gonna download these 3D models and play around with it. And that's a 3D model. So what we're gonna need is maybe the content, because we cannot do a website landing page without content. And I think it's gonna be so much easier if I go to the actual Cybertruck site and just take some of these content here. And I hope Mr. Who's his name again? So I hope Mr. Mux doesn't mind that I get some of these content here. So imagine you're gonna have these key messages going on here, and a CTA, and we click to the CTA and something just happening. I think it's gonna be really cool. So yeah, content good. I think this content is good. It's short, they are clean, and they are totally dribble worthy. Cool. So now let's get started. So here we are in Cinema 4D. As you can see here, I have this 3D models with all of these material applied to is part of the truck here. So I have all of the basic exterior material, which is like the wheels, bodies, glass, lights, backlight, front light. And as you can see here, we don't have the wheels here because I have separated the wheels in another file with this file, because we're gonna need the car to move and to run down the roads, and the wheels need to be animated. So I need to separate it to another files, and we're going to import these separated file to After Effects using Element 3D plugin. And then as we have these two separated groups, we're gonna animate these wheels so that we can have the truck running down the road. So I have import our 3D model to After Effects and starting to build the scene that we are trying to do. So as you can see here, we have the 3D model here, and this is a 3D layers, which is the Element 3 plugin applied here. You can go to scene setup, and you can see that I have adjust all the materials here. So these are the material that you saw in the Cinema 40 file, and all of these materials is being imported to this plugin so that you can play around. You can adjust this material so that we can have is as close at the actual truck as possible. I think I'm pretty happy with what we have here in terms of material, and I also playing around with this render setting and lighting, um, this physical environment and lighting, like you know you can play around with these reflection, just basically just find the best look as you can by playing around with these settings. And I think it's pretty cool at this angle. So if I just use a camera to rotate the truck, and you see at this angle it doesn't look that good, but we probably gonna need to adjust some lighting if the camera goes to this angle. But for now I'm gonna leave it like this because this is the angle that we're gonna need. So yeah, I think it's look pretty good right now. And also in its calm I have this growl here. So if I run this, maybe just like this, you can see that the ground is just kind of moving and wheel is also moving here. So we have this kind of an illusion that the car is running. So the way that I did the ground is just a simple calm like this. This is just a mask. If you go inside this, you can see that's just layer, texture layer. I use this motion tile to animate it like this, so that we can have is kind of running in the final column like this. Maybe we need to adjust some animation to make it sync between the wheels and this ground. And I think that a very good start for our dribble shot here. So I have explored a couple of options for the design and kind of end up with this. So basically it's a little bit different from the original idea that I have, which is supposed to have this text, all of this content in 3D, in this kind of perspective view, but I found this kind of it's really hard to read the text, and also everything's kind of floating. It's not really working with these kind of style content. So I tweaked the design a little bit to have these text in flat. The only thing that is 3D is this truck here, and also we can have this 3D environment with this ground and sky like this to create the look and feel that this truck is running down a very kind of dirty and wild places. I think it's quite fit this truck personality because this is almost for man, like no, it's a strong man kind of look and feel. So I'm quite happy with this this overall tone, overall design, and we're going to create. I'm going to create more step, more state. Maybe we're gonna need 2 more state when you scroll through this page. Otherwise, it's gonna be too short. So basically, the motion that I'm imagining is that we're gonna land to this screen right here, and then there's a 3D nice 3D truck like this. And once you start scrolling, use your mouse to scroll, and the space gonna just kind of scroll horizontally. So the truck will just rotate, or the cameras rotate, and then you see the profile on the truck, and these content will coming from the right to the left, so we can have this kind of effect like the truck is driving through these content as you scroll. And down here we have this scrolling indicator here. It also can be a progress bar to let you know that how many pages you have to scroll through. So yeah, let's get to the rest of the design, and we'll start the motion after that. Here are the rest of the design. So we have all of the 4 stay here. So we're gonna have this first screen as the intro, and there's 3 other key messages, 1, 2, 3. So each of these section or each of these messages, we're gonna need to have this truck doing something to illustrate the content. So I just pick the right content, so it's easier to do. Otherwise it's going to take a lot of time, because we don't want to show the interior. There's nothing in here because it's a free model, so there's no interior. So we just playing around with the exterior. So based on the content, we have performance and efficiency. So I think we can have just have this truck kind of driving kind of fast, and then there's some kind of dirt coming from the wheels to make it feel like it's running very fast. And the next one, so this one about this overall structure, this skeleton of the truck. So I think it should be cool if we can just kind of separate the truck and only focus on the skeleton, well, this part, and fade out the other part like this, so we can have a very cool kind of transformation things going on when it comes to a transition between this screen and this screen. And so next one, so this one is about like utility. So I just want to focus on one point, which is that the back of the truck where we have like this vault like storage. So maybe it just simply just rotate the camera and kind of reveal this storage trunk here, and I think that would be enough for a Dribbble shot. So the key here is that we don't want it to be too short, we don't want it to be too long, just need to be enough. So I estimate this is gonna take like 15 to 20 seconds for the motion. So I think it should be fine. So yeah, so next step, let's do the motion for this bad boy. Here we are in After Effects. So I have quite complete this motion file here. So as you can see here, there's all layers. So what I'm going to do is to break down quickly all of these components, so you can have a glance of how I built this file. So first of all, let's have a look at the motion that I did. Yeah, we're gonna need to render this. I think it's gonna take a lot of time, so maybe let me just quickly drag this down so you can see it quickly. So basically, as you can see here, I have this camera rotating, pretty cool, right? And this content coming from the right, you can see that this I have the clouds also moving as the camera rotates. It's not that kind of realistic, but I think it's look okay for this Dribbble shot, because the whole thing here is not really has to be super realistic, so I will keep it this way. And then I also have these kind of smoke, as you can see clearer. It's kind of dirt coming from the ground like this, and here's I just break apart the truck and show you the skeleton. So I did this very easily. Just all you have to do is just to nope. And finally, this day where we just need to show the back of the truck. So that's the whole motion sequence. Maybe you can stop the video here. So let's see, what I have here is the background. So you cannot see it because it's already covered by this. So this one, so it just layers where I put this kind of gradient, a little bit this color and this color together. So this one's for the ground, this one's for sky, and this is the cloud. Maybe let me turn this up a little bit so you can see it easier. And I have the ground here, camera spotlight, so just to add some extra shadows and shading to the car. Those this is not important, so maybe these are the UI. And so these are the text, so all of these text is in this com, so I can edit it easily. um, and these are just the gestures, com. So yeah, really simple. I will render this out and we're gonna see how it's gonna turn out. um, so after finishing the motion, um, what I'm doing here is just to put it into a frame, because this is like an HD resolution, and while Dribbble only doesn't support that kind of dimension. So we just need to put in the frame so we can have this. Okay, one more time. So after I finish the motion, the final step is just to put the whole video to a frame like this, so we can upload it to Ripples. So for the frame, just trying to do something very simple. It doesn't need to be too crazy. I would prefer something flat like this, and the colors should really complement the content here. So I'm going to go with this. So yeah, I think that's the end of this design session. So I hope you guys find this interesting. I couldn't go too much detail on this my step because the time limitation is quite boring. So what I'm doing here is just show you my workflow and share some thought while doing a dribble shot, and maybe you can find this helpful or entertaining. But just let me know what is the next piece of content that you want me to do, and I will try to do it.